the bottle bill. And I think what we need to do is just go right to Devin. Is that going to make a presentation here? So,
Chair,
Yeah,
could we do a quick roll call?
yeah, let's do a
oh,
roll
sorry.
call.
Yes, let's do the roll call.
And then
Sure.
I'll kind of set up a context for you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that'd be great. Yes, would you
Thank you,
please
sir.
do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Badgepie,
Here, present.
Commissioner Chowry,
Here.
Commissioner Glenn,
Here.
Commissioner Hayes,
Here.
Commissioner Huffman,
Here.
Commissioner Miletus, Commissioner Minty,
Here.
Commissioner Warren,
Here.
Chair Doherty.
Here. All right, now if we can have an overview of the Oregon's bottle history presentation. Be great. Craig, do you want to set this up?
Yeah, I'll set it up for y'all. Good morning, commissioners. First, I want to thank Laura Paul, and Jim Helgett and Nicole Blase for setting us up to look at some temporary rules for adoption to implement Senate Bill 992, which is the omnibus upgrade to the Oregon's bottle bill. We've asked Devin Morales, who is representing OBRC, and Devin, I'm blanking on your acronym, so there you go. That's the first setup. Is you can remind me what those initials are for. Commissioners, our job here is not to, we're not legislators. This is operative law. So that being said, I did want Devin to overview the bottle bill and Senate Bill 992 to give you guys an abundance of context. But then the meeting is really about handing it to Nicole and Jim and getting some temporary rules in place because the bill has been signed into a law, and my understanding has an emergency clause. And then Nicole also reminded me this week, we're doing temporary rules today, and that's what we're come together for. And then there's obviously the permanent rulemaking process that Nicole will do with the full full public comment, rule advisory committees, and those type of things. So that's the context. We got a little nuts and bolts here between the bill being passed by the legislature and being signed, and permanent rulemaking. And I've got Nicole on, and I don't see Jim, so I want to make sure Jim's camera's okay, good to go. So, Mr. Chair, that's it. And I like I said, I do think, as you had said, I think it'd be good to hand it to Devin Morales to give an overview of the Oregon bottle bill and the bill to give the commissioners and the folks joining us context. Thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, Devin. Thank you for.
Good morning. Yeah, thank
today.
you, Craig, for that setup, and good morning, Chair Doherty and commissioners. Can you hear me okay before I continue? Yep. Great. Yep. So I am Devin Morales, and I'm the Vice President of External Affairs for the Oregon Beverage Recycling Cooperative. That's what that acronym stands for. And I just want to thank you so much for inviting us to be here with you today to share some information about the Oregon bottle bill from the system operator's perspective, as well as sharing some of the background for SB 992 and some of the core components of that legislation. But maybe before I go there, I would like to start by just expressing appreciation to the commission, to this commission, and to staff for the many years of collaboration and partnership in making our bottle bill system work well for Oregonians. And I know there are several new commissioners here today, and all of your volunteers. And I just want to take a moment to thank you for your service to the state. And also, as a former OLCC employee, I know OLCC regulates a variety of complex industries, and there's a lot to take in and absorb. So my hope is that, what I'm here today to share with you all is helpful in the context of the bottle bill. So maybe just a moment about kind of the system, and then I'll go into these slides here. Oregon's redemption model is globally touted as best in class, and that's because of our nation-leading redemption rates. We also have a very low per container cost for collecting and recycling those containers. And we do achieve true material circularity, excuse me for my tongue twister there, through our system. And that means that those containers really do get recycled and returned back to bottles and cans in our state. And our system is also unique because it gave both distributors and retailers certain roles and responsibilities under our bottle bill system for managing the recovery of that packaging from consumers. And by doing so, our legislature created the first extended producer responsibility system in the United States. But it's really Oregonians' high level of participation in our system that makes it so successful. So I will share my screen here now. Just get that up for you. One sec. Okay, can you see my screen? I'll make sure you can. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
we
great.
got it, Devin.
Perfect. Okay. So, Oregon's bottle bill in 1971, it was the first deposit return system in the United States. And it started with beer and soda, and it started as a campaign to eliminate litter of beverage containers from our beaches and our rivers and our roadsides and trails. And it was actually quite effective out of the gates. We did see the percentage of roadside litter made up by beverage containers rapidly reduce within a few short years. It went from 40% down to 6% of roadside litter. And that was an evaluation completed by DEQ in the late 1970s, where that data comes from. And we do continue to see results like this today. We actually, OBRC launched a statewide cleanup series this year in partnership with Solve, which is an environmental nonprofit organization here in the state. And, the cleanups are occurring in our redemption center communities throughout 2025 and beyond. And so during our first 5 events across the state, volunteers have collected just about 1,300 pounds of trash and only 25 beverage containers. And so that just goes to show that the system is delivering on that original intent all these years later. And so, beverage distributors and retailers over the years have really proven their ability to innovate time and again over these 54 years to build that system that we have today. And the flexibility to evolve and be responsive is rooted in that aspirational rather than prescriptive nature of Oregon's bottle bill. So this slide here, Oregon's system has kind of gone through 3 different eras from the consumer experience perspective. And in our first 2 eras, retailers were the sole access points for redemption across the state. The method for counting was exclusively by hand. And then later we had the addition of reverse vending machines, which were really fancy for their day. And customers are able to feed those containers one at a time into those machines. But then shortly after we formed the statewide cooperative in 2009, OBRC opened the first bottle drop redemption center. And that was in Wood Village in 2010. So we're closing in on 15 years there this September. And that ushered in the beginning of our bottle drop era. So really the kind of motivating factor, key driver for our bottle drop era and that movement was beverage distributors' desire to help and be supportive of retail partners and shift volume away from retail stores into these centralized hubs where consumers could redeem higher volumes of containers in a dedicated space and choose from a variety of convenient methods to return those containers. And so that included those sort of previous options of the hand count, reverse vending machines, but also brought in our bag drop program, which I'll share about in a few slides here. And so today we are in the bottle drop era. And last year in 2024, more than 80% of our returns across the state are coming back through our bottle drop network. But even with a growing and expansive bottle drop network, those individual container returns at retail's locations, particularly in rural parts of our state, are also essential to success of the program and to maintaining access. So this is our network map. This is the bottle drop network map. And you can see here, this is sort of what OBRC manages. So in a couple of the photos here, The top photo, oops, sorry, my light went out. The top photo is a location that is at a partner retailer, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And the bottom photo is one of our bottle drop full service redemption centers. So today our network consists of 27 of those full service redemption centers across the state. And the most recently opened was in McMinnville in 2023. And at these locations, customers can redeem up to 350 containers per day, in addition to dropping their green and blue bags. And then we also have, and we need to update our figures here, we actually have 75 bag drop locations at participating retailers across the state. We just opened 2 this year already, and we've got a third opening next week in Brookings. And so, grocery retailers are hosting either what's called a dealer redemption center or a bottle drop express site. And they can be in these outbuildings like what you see here, or they can be a trailer in their parking lot, or even just a drop door on the side of their building. But they give consumers a very convenient way to drop off their bags in bulk and have those containers credited to their accounts very quickly. We also have 5 strategically located processing plants across the state where we aggregate those materials from a region, and then we prepare them for distribution to end markets. And then in addition to what's on this map here, we support 2 alternative redemption programs. One is in Eugene called Everyone Village, and the People's Depot, which is in Portland. And we provide funding to these organizations to support employable skill building through their redemption services program. And I'll talk about People's Depot a little bit more when we get to 992. So our green bag program, I think maybe if you were here for the presentation my predecessor gave about a year ago, you might have become a little more familiar with our green bag program, but this was really a major game changer in terms of efficiency and convenience for consumers. And so to participate in this program, you open up a bottle drop account with us, and then customers can drop their bags off at any one of those now 102 locations across the state and see their money credited to their account within 7 days. It does usually happen a lot more quickly than that. And in addition to the option to just get your refunds back through that tool, account holders can also take advantage of a variety of benefit programs that we have. And so one of those is the ability to link directly to your Oregon College Savings Plan account. And last year, our account holders transferred more than $518,000 to their college saving plans accounts. And we had $2 million. We hit the 2 million mark also very recently. And that's just 5 years of that program being in existence. So it's really impressive to see people take advantage of that option. And then, account holders really love the Push Plus program that allows them to get a 20% boost on their redemption value when they're shopping at a participating grocery store with in-store credit. And those are Northwest grocery retailer stores that make that available to folks. So we had last year 227,000 account holders who took advantage of that program. So our bottle bill really does deliver many positive and unique features to Oregonians who choose to participate in our system. So just a moment to share a little bit about kind of our bag volume and how it's grown over time, and also, why behind that. And so today we have about 1.1 million bottle drop account holders in our state. And for context, we have roughly 1.8 million households. So, really high level of participation across the state. And on the graph here, you can see that since 2018, the volume of containers coming back and bags coming back through our system has more than tripled. And in 2024, we had 12.28 million bags coming back through Green Bag. We're also seeing that 2025, that growth rate is actually higher than last year's already. So, really just continual growth there. And it's the product of, 2 policy changes that took effect in recent years and then COVID. So in 2017, our legislature doubled the redemption value of containers from 5 cents to 10 cents. And then in 2018, we saw a significant expansion of the eligible container types included in our bottle bill. So that today about 88%, I think it's about 88% of beverage containers sold in the state are within our bottle bill. And so that led to, a pretty significant increase in containers. And that includes, we've got a new friend joining the family July 1st with wine in a can. So that'll be coming very soon as well. And, this increase in volume and then COVID happening really forced us to find a new way to manage the volumes coming back through the bag program. We needed a more efficient counting system for managing those containers and getting people's counts credited. And so we developed a patented bulk bag counting system that pairs an AI neural network with a custom batch conveyor system. And it very accurately and rapidly counts those containers and then identifies the material type before pushing it on. And so that system is called Smart Count, and it has dramatically increased our ability to accurately and quickly count containers. It's actually 4 times faster than our alternative technology at counting those containers. And so these advancements have allowed us, coupled with the expansion of the network, to hit that sweet spot of convenience for consumers. Okay, so our Blue Bag program is a great program. It's a bottle drop gift program. It's a really great way for nonprofits across our state to raise resources. And it works fairly similarly to the Green Bag program, except that bags and tags are distributed by the nonprofits themselves to their members and to donors, interested folks. And we really do have just a cause for everybody in the system. I think we're actually now up to closer to 6,900 nonprofits. Any 501c3 can participate and register. And last year, they raised more than $5.55 million through the Bottle Drop Network and have raised over $33 million since inception of this program. And we just continue to see this growth in participation and engagement year over year. People really love this program. You can also actually, from your Green Bag account, just make a direct donation to any of our registered nonprofits as well. Oh, was there a question? Okay. So here, this is a very helpful graphic to see just the growth of the program over time and how people are returning their containers and how that's changed over time. As a product of the modernization of the system. So in 2010, which is sort of the beginning of this graph here, 100% of containers were coming back as individual containers through retail stores, so convenience stores and grocery stores. And we were handling about 1 billion containers per year at that time. And so then in 2024, consumers redeemed, once again, more than 2 billion containers. So we've doubled the number of containers coming back through the system. And today we have more than, 80% of containers are coming back through the Bottle Drop Network. And for retail stores, you've got about 10 to 11% coming back through large stores, and about 9% is coming back through the small format stores across the state. So here you can see on the left, you have the return rate by material type for 2023. And you can see also overall, as you stack up the states here to each other, our redemption rate in Oregon is #1. And we have had that #1 ranking for the last several years. In 23, the most recently kind of finalized reported year, the redemption rate for Oregon was 87.3%. And I'll tell you, for 2024, our preliminary redemption rate is 90.4%. So we are working over these next month really to finalize our 2024 figure, and then we actually report it to you all before July 1st of each year. So again, we do expect our state to lead the pack for redemption this year. And, that's something that's really impressive, that we continue to get to be #1 in achieving these outcomes for our state. And just for comparison purposes, the national average for container recovery is about 35% in non-bottle bill states. So it really does make a difference in terms of the volume, the quantity that you're able to recover and recycle. And it's really that
Chair Doherty?
participation that allows us to
Yes.
achieve that.
Yeah, got a question?
Yep.
Yes.
I just want to ask, Devin, can you tell me, does that have something to do with the amount of the redemption? Does the 10 cents really help, obviously?
Yes, I would say, Commissioner, yes, thank you for that question. The two factors that really help in terms of achieving that high level of redemption is the value proposition to a consumer, and then the convenience, the ability to get those containers, their redemptions back. So absolutely, that redemption value is a major contributing factor to that. Okay. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. I've got a couple more slides and then we can transition to 992, but I'll pause for any questions about the system before I go into that. So, why do we want a bottle bill for our state? Our bottle bill system remains truly a vital environmental stewardship program today. And we're able to recover a much higher percentage of that beverage container material at more than 2 billion containers per year. It's quite a lot of material. So just for some context in terms of statistics, we had about 152 million pounds of beverage container material processed for recycling in 2024. And that allowed us to avoid generating as a state 54,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent emissions, which is it's like taking about 11,500 cars off the road. So it really does have an environmental, beneficial impact that is quite impressive. And in addition to that, for our state, our material is 100% either recycled in Oregon or domestically in the United States. So we have 100% of our plastic is going to ORPET, which is our facility up in St. Helens. And that plastic, PET plastic, is washed and then flaked into recycled PET. To be turned back into bottles and cans. And the glass is going to a facility in Portland called Glass to Glass, 100% of that, where it is processed for recycling back into new bottles. And our aluminum is 100% processed domestically, and it's shipped by rail to the South. And so because we have this proximity to the facilities and the end markets, we minimize transportation emissions in addition, as well as costs. And it also allows us to support jobs in Oregon and domestically. But what is really essential with that material is that we are good stewards of it through that whole process so that we have minimal contaminants in the stream and we maintain that food grade quality to avoid downcycling and high demand for that material. So I will pause there and see if there are any system questions before I transition to the omnibus package. And if not, I'm happy to keep going.
Well, let me ask one question. You mentioned Solve, and they've been I think, a great success story for us. How are you connected with them, or do you partner with Solve?
Yes, Chair, thank you for that question. We have a longstanding partnership with Solve, just collaborating to do cleanup events over the many years. And, they're big proponents of our bottle bill system. And so we just find alliances to engage with community members and folks who want to learn more about recycling and keep our natural places clean. So it's just where we can find alliances, we partner and take advantage of that.
Yeah, thank you. It was like a symbiotic relationship. I love that.
Yes, very much so. They've been a partner from the very beginning. So instrumental to passing, to Oregon's bottle bill history. So, yep. Okay, so I'll go ahead and dive into 992 now. And, I'll just say that since OBRC was formed in late 2008 and really kind of took hold and started our operations in 2009, we've continued to demonstrate, that commitment to innovation and improvement of the system and the policy. And so OBRC did support 992, and the legislation itself is the product of pretty detailed evaluation of data and collaboration among bottle bill stakeholders, with the grocers being obviously the key stakeholder in this. And everyone came to the table with a solutions-oriented mindset. So this bill itself makes, small but pretty impactful changes to the bottle bill policy framework that modernize redemption options and incentivize creating more locations for Oregonians, really especially in Portland, to redeem their containers through the bottle drop green and blue bag program. And so I'll focus on three kind of areas of comments today that are kind of the core features as you transition into the rule package. So I'll talk about what the beverage container landscape, the redemption landscape looks like in Portland today, and what we anticipate could change in Portland when SB 992 is fully implemented in these coming months. And then I'll spend some time going through the low impact convenience zone concept and where we might expect that designation to apply across the state. And then I'll touch a little bit about the best practices related to redemption center siting that will come out of this rule package and, of course, goes through the commission here. Oh, and I also shared a one-pager with you all that kind of goes through some of the details of the legislation too. So hopefully that makes its way to you. So here, this is a map of the jurisdictional boundaries of the city of Portland. And what you can see here is that the orange icons here are your small format or convenience stores. The red are large grocery stores. So they're over 5,000 square feet. And the greens are what are called dealer redemption centers across the city. So those are the bag drop sites in the city of Portland. And then the circle, sort of the blue circles are the redemption centers. So in this legislation, the first core topic involves modifying redemption opportunities for Oregonians in the city of Portland. And with this legislation having passed now, Portlanders are going to continue having a variety of options for redeeming their containers. And that includes having 2 full-service redemption centers in the city. And then an alternative access redemption center will be coming online formally. We have one that's sort of operating out, in a less formal capacity today, but a formally recognized alternative access redemption center. And that will be operated by a nonprofit organization serving daily redeemers of beverage containers. And then you will have at least 29 green and blue bag drop sites at locations across the city. And we expect that number to increase as a result of this legislation. And then you have your in-store returns. And so those will continue in some cases to happen in both large and small format stores. So right now in the city, we have 57 large format stores that don't have a bag drop site. And so they do accept some level of individual container returns. And then you have 361 small format stores. And what you can see here on this slide is that in the city of Portland, the percentage of total individual container returns, so those are the hand counts or the reverse vending machine returns, that percentage is represented in blue for each of these different categories of return locations. And then the bag returns are in the green. And as an example of this, if you look down to the convenience store category, you have 361 of those locations in our city, and they are handling about 10% of individual container returns for the city of Portland, which translates to around 6% of the total volume in the city. So that's just an example of how to look at this particular slide. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean for that to play there. So from OBRC's perspective, a key goal for the city of Portland in this legislation is to help more Portlanders take advantage of the green and blue bag program. And the bill itself incentivizes making more of those locations available for residents across the city by giving large format stores the opportunity to provide for redemptions via the green and blue bag program rather than in-store returns. And in addition to kind of support that on the OBRC side, we've been investing in installations of that Smart Count AI technology that I referred to kind of a few slides ago, where we can very efficiently count and credit people's accounts for those containers. So we've got that in our Clackamas plant and our Gleason Redemption Center, both serving the Portland area. And, the chart here on the left, it shows the average time to credit people's accounts for bags dropped at redemption centers. And so you can see here that for the most part, if you're dropping your bag at a redemption center, we are processing those containers in a matter of hours and usually kind of same day. And then for bags dropped at retail locations, they're transferred to our processing plants, and then they're typically credited in the Portland area within a couple of days. And that's, again, thanks to that high-speed technology. And so what just started playing is actually, I'm not going to play it for you, but to reinforce these efforts further, we've launched this education campaign this quarter that is focused really on the city of Portland in an effort to recruit more people to participate in our green and blue bag program. And so we are seeing a notable uptick in the number of bags returned within the target areas since we started the campaign. And it's focused on giving people more information about the benefits of using the program. So regarding alternative access redemption centers, and I'll just start by saying, I've said this before, every container that is not redeemed by the person who purchased that container is available for someone else to redeem. And so our friends at the People's Depot know that better than anyone else. And with passage of this legislation, the People's Depot is well positioned to find a more permanent home base. They're currently operating under the Southeast Morrison Bridge 2 hours a day, 2 hours and 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And so the hope is that they can expand their operations to serve, their primary clients are canners or gleaners. And so the goal is to continue serving those in Portland participants in the system on a daily or near daily basis. And so when this center gets set up, it will have one convenience zone, and large stores within the zone will be eligible to participate in the center, similar to the way they participate in a traditional redemption center. And then,
Devin,
yeah.
Devin, can I a question?
Sure.
Who did you say are their primary customers for this?
Predominantly, the group of folks are self-identified as canners or gleaners, and it means essentially they are collecting containers from a variety of sources, and then bringing those for redemptions to make ends meet. And the People's Depot actually did a pretty good survey project just earlier this year, so you can take a look at that, and I'm happy to share a link where you can see kind of more detailed look at who their customers are.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet. Right. So in addition, to the large stores, the small stores within this zone, they will be able to reduce their redemption requirements down to cut it in half, down to 24 containers per person per day. The current rate, if you're not within a convenience zone, is that you're at 50 per person per day. And so another feature for small format stores within this kind of special zone that is yet to be created is the stores would be able to reduce their redemption hours to 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so, I think that across the state, because of this legislation, all stores will be allowing for redemptions 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But in this one zone, small format stores will be able to do 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so very importantly too, I'll just go ahead.
Devin, what's the purpose of that change in the hours? What will that facilitate?
It's really about our understanding is it's really about managing staff in sort of those later evening hours, and the ability to both handle customers who are coming in to purchase things and also counting containers. Oftentimes stores run it with kind of skeleton crews in the later evening hours, and it was logistically really challenging. So this allows for kind of streamlining and better management of redemption for customers in stores.
Does this have to do with the nature of the fentanyl crisis?
I would say it's really about the staffing levels needed to be able to respond effectively to customers coming in during those evening hours. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, as part of the structure here, I think it's important because this maybe is not directly addressed in the legislation, but remains true. So access to bag drop locations for consumers within that zone will be maintained to at least the equivalent levels that exist at the time of your approval of this redemption center. And so that means the number of locations will remain the same. And this commitment will be reflected in the commission's order approving the Alternative Access Redemption Center. And so that ongoing approval will be conditioned on continuing to maintain green bag access throughout this zone, because that is essential to this actually being successful. Okay, so this is the last kind of major topic here in the legislation that I'll speak to, and then happy to answer questions. So through the bill here, OLCC received authority to designate redemption centers and their respective convenience zones as redemption centers that have just one low impact convenience zone. And in order to qualify for this designation, the center and its corresponding zone in the annual return volume, this is a little wonky, so I'm gonna go through it and then please feel free to ask questions. But the annual return volume at large stores in the current convenience zone 2, and you can see in this picture here, there's zone 1 is sort of the darker shaded area, and that goes out to 2 miles from the center. And then you've got zone 2 is that lighter shaded area, and that goes out to up to 3.5 miles. So if the annual return volume to large stores in that zone 2 is less than 3% of the volume going to the corresponding the redemption center, then that's a qualifying factor. And the second qualifying factor is that the facility itself has been operating for at least 3 years, so that we can ensure that the volumes throughout that area have normalized, and we know what to expect. And so with those two factors satisfied, we are confident that the really low volume of individual containers that would need to get redistributed are not going to overwhelm the other remaining options available to consumers to redeem their containers. And it also continues to provide a mix of, convenient opportunities for folks to redeem containers. So just so you all know, in the coming months, we will be sitting down with OLCC staff and retailers, and we will review that volume data for each redemption center, each of the 27, to assess which of those qualify for this designation. And I'll just say here, on this slide, these are 2 examples of centers that, based on 2024 data, would qualify for the low impact designation. And so, you can see here that there are a much smaller number of large format stores in that outer zone relative to the small format stores, and you've got the center very close by. So I will just leave it there. I think, we do have the redemption center application process that is being kind of codified, what we do with you all already. Some best practices there, and I'm happy to speak to that if it's helpful, but I thought I'd just go ahead and stop there and say thanks.
Thank you, Devin. That was excellent. Commissioners?
And Mr. Chair, if you have it's Craig, can I cut in for a sec?
Absolutely.
So I want to thank Devin, and as you can see, it's 11:41, and I wanted to have Devin do the overview of kind of the policy, and she did a great job, but I'm sensitive to, we really have a pretty limited time here, and we want to get to the actual temporal package. So Devin, thank you, but with that, I wanted to kind of shift from, here's the big context, that was amazing. But I'm sensitive to time for the commission, and I've got Jim and Nicole who can talk about the actual temp rules if you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So thank you. I think that's the background, and then I don't see. Are we handing it to Nicole or Jim or both, Laura?
Nicole.
Okay, thanks, Nicole.
Yes, I can take it from here. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, Chair Doherty and commissioners. For the record, my name is Nicole Blase, and I am the rules coordinator for the OLCC. I am here to present one rulemaking action for your consideration today. And of course, that is the temporary and initial action for the 2025 bottle bill. And should you have any questions after I read the motion. We have our bottle bill agency staff here to answer any questions that you might have. All right, the 2025 Oregon Legislature passed Senate Bill 992, which directs the OLCC to develop rules for and to approve qualifying applications to provide alternative access redemption centers that provide bottle redemption access to individuals who return bottles on a daily or near daily basis. These redemption centers may not refuse to pay the refund value of less than 350 beverage containers by any one person during one day and provide hand counting of up to 50 beverage containers for one person in one day. Senate Bill 992 also requires the OLCC to establish alternative access and low impact convenience zones and adjust hours of operation of bottle redemption centers in various zones. Senate Bill 992 is effective upon passage, and many of its provisions have an operative date of October 1st, 2025, which requires the OLCC to pass temporary rules to implement. And we have staff here to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioners, any questions? Well, if no questions, then I would entertain a motion.
Chair, I move to initiate rulemaking on this action to temporarily amend OAR 845-020, 0005, 0016, 0020, 0025, 0027, and 0035 to temporarily adopt 845-020, 0028, 0029, and 0033, and to hold rulemaking hearing at staff's discretion.
Move, do we have a second?
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioners. Moved and second. Any further discussion? Can we have the roll, please?
Commissioner Badgepie,
Yes.
Commissioner Chowry,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Melitas,
Yes.
Commissioner Minty,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. So the bill passes. Thank you very much. And I think that's it for today.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, can I just want to close by thanking the customers who redeem these containers, the partners like OBRC, our grocers, our small convenience stores. We will work over the next few months to put to implement this bill, and I want to thank all of our customers and partners for the opportunity to do that. It's an honor to do that as the OLCC. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Devin, thank you very much. That was an excellent, clear presentation. Very much appreciate that. I almost understand it now. So thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.